And good morning, everybody. Welcome, Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. How are you, my friend, as we get closer to the final preseason game?
I'm good. I really am. I'm excited about getting closer to the season. Inside of 3 weeks now,
Yep.
Teams around the league are making their starting announcements at quarterback, and you're starting to feel there's college football in a game against two ranked teams as early as this Saturday.
Crazy,
This
right?
Saturday. I mean, are you kidding me? And CU opens a week from Friday at home against Georgia Tech in a pretty intriguing opening matchup. So off we go, man. It's good. And time will accelerate now once we get into the start of football.
And leading into it, Netflix came out with a series on the Dallas Cowboys and the building of that franchise when Jerry Jones took over. I'll be honest with you, I had zero interest in watching it, but I know how well those documentaries on Netflix are produced. And I was like, well, I'll just watch it for 10 minutes if it's any good. Because quite frankly, I really don't care about the Dallas Cowboys. It's not that I dislike the Dallas Cowboys. It's just I really have no great interest, in the organization as a whole. And I'm through 3 episodes, and I must tell you, it's interesting and so well done. And it's funny because Jerry Jones, in a lot of ways, is painted as a sympathetic figure early on, as well he should be. Because people down in Texas, which I did not know, if you're a Cowboys fan, I'm telling you things you already do know, he was painted as a villain, as an outsider, as a carpetbagger, as this hick from Arkansas who not only came in and bought the team, but he, as all of us know, immediately fired Tom Landry and Tex Schramm, the GM at the time, and he was despised for doing what he did. And then he gets them not only to the Super Bowl, but they win a Super Bowl, 3 years in, which is kind of ironic because I believe the Penners are 3 years in. But then again, everyone was excited around here for the Penners opening, or for the Penners buying this team. Now, as I see what's going on current day, the venom for Jones seems to be as high today as it was when he first bought the team. I've spent a lot of time in Dallas doing fundraising events, and I take Ubers all over the place when I'm there working fundraising events. And every Uber driver I talk to, they're tired and sick of Jerry Jones.
Yeah, they don't win playoff games. I mean, that's the big reason why they've actually had decent regular season success. If you look at Dak Prescott's numbers as a starter, now he's the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. I think that that's a correct statement, and he's got a pretty shiny regular season record, but I think he's 2-5 or something like that in the playoffs. So, I mean, it doesn't equate to postseason. Yeah, and to your point, Eric, when it comes to good work being done in terms of putting a show together and the information that comes with it, it really doesn't even matter what the subject is. You don't have to like the Dallas Cowboys. You could care less about Jerry Jones, but the process of doing really good work and really good storytelling is always compelling. It doesn't matter what the subject is oftentimes, but good storytelling is always worth a watch.
Hey, I want to tell you about the Sportsbook Bar and Grill now that the football season is here. Go there. DTC, Highlands Ranch, absolutely the place to watch the NFL and college football this upcoming season. On Broncos Sunday, you can win a Broncos jersey during every Broncos regular season game in each location. Plus, Sportsbook is going to have great specials for Coors Light, other great drink specials as well. They're going to have ticket giveaways, and then brunch begins at 9 a.m. to get you going early. College football Saturday, if you go down to the DTC, that is a big watch bar, and it's been that way for a long time for Iowa. But if you head over to the location in Highlands Ranch, that is a huge bar for Ohio State. CU, CSU, as Bruce just mentioned. It's hard to believe that the Buff season starts next Friday. And boy, do they have a humdinger of an opener against Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is expected to be a very good team. I was reading that some people believe this is the year that Clemson may get knocked off and knocked off by Georgia Tech. So the Buffs have their hands full. I'll tell you right now, if the Buffs win this game next Friday, that might be, to me, the biggest statement win of the Deion Sanders era. With that, go to the Sportsbook Bar and Grill. You can find them in the DTC Highlands Ranch and coming soon to Parker. Time now for the lead.
The lead is presented by Sasquatch Casino, a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
The media, including us, have been talking a lot about what's going to be the order of wide receivers to start the season. Sean Payton cleared it up for all of us at yesterday's press conference.
I think some teams are more predictable with where the X is and the slot and the Z and then in the term, the number one, the number two. I get all that. They're all going to play in different roles, and so we probably are a little bit different with our rotation substitution patterns that you guys can decide who 2 is and 3 is and 4 is, but there's going to be a role if they're dressing and they're getting on the field, and they're not going to line up in the same spot all the time. I think that would be the easiest way to describe it.
I think that Payton said it in a very nice way, which was, guys, looking at us in the media, stop tracking who's number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. This is the way I'm going to do it. So with that, have we made too much of it?
No, not too much of it. It's just that we view it in a different kind of way. When you're assigning numbers to receivers, I think generally media does it with who is going to get the most targets. Where's the ball going to be going? From a coaching standpoint, it has to be how do we match up against this? Look, every defense is different. Some are playing a 4-3. Some are playing a 3-man front. Some are playing predominantly nickel as their base. Some are playing an extra guy. They move people around. So every game is going to present, just based on the game plan alone, a different challenge in how you attack it and where you attack it from. I think both things can be true at the same time. At the end of the day, there is still going to be a WR1. And that WR1, maybe from our point of definition, is who's the guy that's going to get the ball thrown to him the most.
Yeah.
Number 2 may end up being who's the guy that gets the second most targets, et cetera, on down the line. But clearly, I mean, he's talked all summer long about Troy Franklin playing 2 positions. He's playing the X and the Y, and he's moving around and he's doing all kinds of different things. So how they're used against various defenses will probably dictate to him who's 1, 2, 3, and 4. For us, I think it probably becomes as simple as, hey, he's getting more targets.
Okay, well, let's break it down this way. Let's just use the Cincinnati Bengals as our metric.
Sure.
There's absolutely no doubt who the top 2 wide receivers are on that team. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, in that order.
Right.
Yeah? Let's go back in the day when Demaryius Thomas and Eric Decker were on the team. No doubt it was going to be Demaryius Thomas, then Eric Decker was going to be number 2. When Demaryius was here with Emmanuel Sanders, there was very little doubt it was going to be Demaryius Thomas and then Emmanuel Sanders, second in receptions or yards. But I think that everyone in the media, not everyone, many in the media, including us, have made cases at some point on who is going to be number 2 this year. We have talked about Vele. Is that fair to say? Would it surprise you at all if Vele is number 2 in, say, targets or yards? Would that surprise you at all?
Right now, it might surprise me a little bit. Yeah, it might surprise me a little bit at this particular moment. But
correct.
No, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, no.
3 months ago would not have surprised us.
No,
Is that fair? 3 months ago. Okay? 3 months ago, it would have surprised us if it was Troy Franklin with what we have seen.
Yes.
3 months ago, it may not have surprised us if it was Marvin Mims, right? With the way he came on at the end of the season. And then when we started watching OTAs and mini camps and training camps, many of us thought, well, maybe it'll be Evan Ingram. My point is that it seems to me that Cortland Sutton is the number one. And there's the old saying about, quarterbacks. If you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one. When you look at wide receivers after Sutton, 2 through 5, maybe Pat Bryant might not be part of this list, but you certainly don't know. Do they have 4 other wide receivers who aren't necessarily interchangeable, but all equal enough where no one has really pulled away where you can make the case for almost any of those guys, unlike with the Bengals, with Chase and Higgins, and most teams around the league?
Well, the Broncos don't have a Chase or a Higgins. I mean,
they don't have a Chase, and you're right. They don't have either. Yeah. So they have 2 top tier guys, right?
Right.
I don't even know, and I say this with all due respect to Cortland Sutton. I think in the grand scheme of things, is he a top tier wide receiver in this league? He's not. He's probably not top 10 necessarily.
No.
But he's certainly a number 1 wide receiver on this team. So when I look at the fight for number 2, I think they're all interchangeable in a roundabout way. They're all better than average. They're all better than average. But none of them right now are considered great. T. Higgins at number 2 is considered great. And I think, and I'm wondering, is that one reason why Sean is saying, let's not put numbers on this? It could be anybody in any game where we, with the Bengals as our example, T. Higgins is probably going to be number 2 in yards and receptions to Jamar Chase for most of the time. Decker's going to be second to Demarius for the most part, yards and catches. And the list goes on and on. It's just you have a bunch of guys. None of those guys are considered elite right now. But any one of those guys could have a breakout game.
But Eric, I'll ask you a question. Would you rather be the Cincinnati Bengals with 2 typically defined WR1s, or would you rather be the Broncos with 5 guys that can attack you at pretty much any time and any place on the field in a very competent way, in a very consistent fashion? And maybe there isn't an answer to that. I mean, it works for the Bengals in the way that it works. You've got 2 guys that are dynamic, and you've got a guy throwing them the ball that is dynamic, and they are at their core 3 of the best players at their positions in all of football. But I think Sean Payton, I don't think would turn down Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. I'm not saying that, but he has what he has. And he's, I think, very comfortable with what he has in his room based on what he's trying to do with this offense.
I don't think his goal was to have 4 guys who are above average. Right. I think he'd rather have 2 great. If you put T. Higgins on this roster, is it fair to say he's the number 1 wide receiver on this team?
Yes, I would think so. In a typical definition, yes.
Yeah. So what would I rather have? Chase and Higgins, or the 5 guys we have? I'll take Chase and Higgins. Those are 2 elite level wide receivers. Now, you can game plan for both of those guys, meaning the great cornerbacks out there study tendencies of the wide receiver they are going to cover. Surtain knows he's going to be on Chase. So all he has to do is study Jamar Chase for the most part.
Yeah.
Leading up. The advantage, I think, maybe that Sean Payton has by maybe playing all of these guys and who's going to have the best game type of mentality. Who do I throw to in the best situation? You are now forcing a cornerback, let's use Pat Surtain as our example. He has to prepare for 5 guys. He has to watch tape on 5 guys because he has no idea who he's lining up against. I think that's the advantage that you have.
I think it's also an advantage you're not paying 2 receivers what those guys are being paid.
Well, but let's be fair about this. They are veterans. We're talking about Vele, rookie contract. Same with Bryant. Same with Franklin.
Right.
Same with Mims.
Right.
That just happens.
But
that just
don't you
happens
think
to
that
be-
that's right? But don't you think that I mean, look, I think the Broncos have what is right for the Broncos in this time and place. Might they continue to look to improve just the plain talent in the receiving room at some point? I think it'd be foolish not to try, but I think Sean Payton is very comfortable with this core of 5 guys that are going to do most of the damage.
I don't think what Sean Payton did, I'm not going to give him that much credit.
Okay.
Where what he did was by design. It wasn't by design. They needed to draft wide receivers because they didn't have a strong room. It just so happens that 4 of them all happened to be under rookie contracts. I am sure the Bengals, with all the help they need on defense, that's where they should be spending their entire draft. But they had a shot at Vele if they wanted him, and Franklin, and Mims, and Bryant. It's not like any of these guys were first-round draft picks. They would kill to have some of those guys on the roster. The Broncos have those guys on the roster because they needed, forget about bodies in the wide receiver room. They needed guys who they felt could eventually be a number 1, number 2, number 3. They just all happen to be here at the same time. It's not like Sean thought to himself, I'm going to start drafting wide receivers right now and build.
No, he did it out of necessity.
Correct.
But the hump on his hump, he and Payton, 4 of those 5 guys that we're talking about are on their hump. They're his guys. Because
they drafted them. None of them were first-round picks. None of them overly expensive by football standards.
Right.
And they were sprinkled throughout those particular drafts. 2nd-round pick, 3rd-round pick, 4th-round pick, 6th-round pick, whatever it was. Bengals had a chance to do that too. They just didn't.
Yeah.
So where Payton is right now, yes, he has 5 guys, I believe, that all can play. I think you could put Pat Bryant, with what I've seen, and I know it's early, he hasn't played an NFL game yet. I think that you could put Pat Bryant on the field for 20 teams right now, and he would easily be a number 3 wide receiver. Yes. No?
I totally agree. No,
Same with Franklin, for sure.
Yes.
Vele,
yes.
I think so as well. It just so happens they happen to have all of these guys under rookie contracts. So when you talk about what the Bengals are paying Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, these guys are veterans. Okay? You have to pay those guys if they are any good. The Broncos have the good fortune of Bo Nix on a rookie contract, 4 wide receivers on a rookie contract. You have R.J. Harvey on a rookie contract. And that's just the offense.
Right.
Because they had to build. But here's the thing. I don't want to say they've hit on those guys, but the trajectory is certainly trending up that they're going to hit at some level on all those guys.
Yeah. I mean, when you stop to look at the track record in the last 3 years, they've hit on a hell of a lot more than they've whiffed on.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And the roster as it sits right now is pretty strong evidence of that. Because they do have a very cost-effective, I'll use that term, offense. And when you've got guys under rookie contracts, you can swim upstream against $32 million that you're still paying Russell Wilson, right? You can do some things. They have been fortunate in that they've hit on a lot of guys that we think are going to help them. Now, look, we haven't played a game yet, and this receiving crew is going to have to do it, for 17 17 weeks in the NFL, and we're not sure that that's going to happen. We think it's going to happen. There's a lot of confidence. I think you and I think we're on the same page. I'm pretty confident down to the sixth guy in this receiving room. I really am. I'm pretty confident. I think 5 are going to be in a rotation, and 5 will play, and 5 will contribute.
What I'm about to say is not a knock on any of those top 6 guys in the wide receiver room. The strength, and I'll use the Bengals again, the strength of their wide receiver room is flat out dominant talent. The strength of the Broncos receiving room is not talent. The strength of the Broncos receiving room is the collective nature of all 6 guys who can go out and contribute. So it's the sum of the parts type of narrative. What's more important?
Yeah.
You know, the individuals or the sum of the parts. That's the Broncos' strength. The sum of the parts, which allows Payton to use any single guy of those guys who are going to dress in order to make an impact. Maybe not 10 catches for 170 yards, but all of these guys will chip in. But I think with the way the wide receiver room is constructed, not on purpose, they were just drafting guys, and I think they've hit potentially on a bunch of guys. What I think it does is it forces defensive coordinators to say, okay, how do we cover Bryant? Oh, how do we cover Franklin? They're good enough to at least get a look. Not necessarily game plan against, but you have to account for any of those 5 or 6 guys that are going to dress.
And beyond that, and here's the next level, is of those 5 guys that you expect to be contributors, A1 is route tree, catch the ball. We understand that. But how willing are you to block at the point of attack and downfield? And you have, and I wouldn't say that I'm not saying Marvin Mims isn't a willing blocker, but you don't think about Marvin Mims that way. Those other 4 guys, including Troy Franklin, I think are very willing physical blockers. They're trying to run a lot more outside zone. What's new is old, right? For the Broncos. Back out to that stretch and outside zone, which means you've got to have willing guys to push guys out and create space, running lanes, cut back lanes, things of that nature. So you've got to have good blocking receivers as well. And I do think that this group is a pretty physical group when it comes to blocking, both downfield and at the line of scrimmage. So it looks like it's going to be a really good combination. And we keep coming back to, and let's not forget, Evan Engram is in this mix as well. Evan Engram is in this mix as well. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty good feel-good for Sean Payton and his offense. We'll just have to see when they get going.
If any of this sounds familiar, this is exactly what Mike Shanahan wanted and demanded.
Right.
You better be able to block Rod Smith if you want to see the field. You better be able to block Christian McCaffrey or Nate Jackson or anybody else. You better be able to block or you're not going to be on the field that much.
Right.
So, especially with that outside zone, because think about this. Outside zone, where do wide receivers line up?
Oh, outside.
Right. So you better be able to do all of these things. Coming up after the break, we have been singing the praises of the wide receivers for a lot of different reasons. But there's one thing that we haven't addressed, which might make them far more impressive than what we have just even talked about. That's next. Everyone has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch in the DTC. Both locations are everything a sports bar should be. An upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. Sportsbook is a hangout bar or great for private parties.
The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, the DTC, and coming soon to Parker. They are the sports bar.
Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk have another incredible promotion. They'll be giving away a Ford Maverick Tremor truck or over $25,000 in cash the weekend of October 24th. Daily cash drawings are every 45 minutes between 10 a.m. and midnight. Players can earn daily entries with every locked-up jackpot or by redeeming players' points on their players' cards. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos, loose slots, phenomenal promotions, great food, and a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. Don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corn bake. Man, you gotta try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver.
Ferguson's Heating and Cooling is the best in Denver, and their customers agree. Ferguson's has 165 5-star Google reviews, and here's one from Betsy. Highly professional, prompt, and honest. I switched to Ferguson's when I became aware my former company was trying to sell me a whole new system I didn't need. Ferguson's is an honest, working, family-owned business that'll give you a fair price, the highest quality parts and equipment, and they always show up on time. You can trust the Ferguson family like you trust your own family. Go to fergusonsheatingandcooling.com.
Spice up your next night out at Nola Jane and Lodo. Authentic Cajun cuisine like andouille sausage gumbo with dirty rice, crawfish etouffee, as well as 6 different po' boys like soft-shell crab and shrimp. Come in before or after a game at Ball Arena. Host a party or party on their rooftop deck overlooking Market Street during happy hour from 11 a.m. to 5. Plus, Nola Jane caters, delivers, and the kitchen is open late night. Make Nola Jane your new favorite spot to eat, drink, and party like it's Mardi Gras.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hot takes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
And welcome back. Hot Takes with Goodman and Haertl. Before we get going, I want to tell you about Ferguson's Heating and Cooling. I am a firm believer in not working with companies that sell me stuff I don't need. Nothing bothers me more than somebody trying to upsell me with any type of company. And with Ferguson's Heating and Cooling, it is their mission statement not to sell you something that you don't need. I had a long conversation with Cody. The owner, Cody Ferguson. He said to me, listen, I know that if we go out there and do a fix, we have to spend gas and it's manpower, and we might lose money for a quick fix. Yeah, obviously you want to sell somebody, a new furnace, a new HVAC unit. He said, but we're not going to work that way. We will fix it. If we have to lose money, so be it, right? That's the type of company you want to work with. Not someone who's going to walk in your door, because let's face it, when a tech walks in the door, a lot of those guys are commission-based. They might have a small, base salary. Some of them may not even have a base salary. Them putting food on the table is, I need you to buy a new furnace. It's not the way it works at Ferguson Heating and Cooling. Go with the company that I unequivocally trust to take care of my needs for HVAC and also for, heating as well. They are the absolute best. It's a family-owned business. It's Ferguson's, Fergu, capital SONS. It is a family business. Go to fergusonsheatingandcooling.com. Time now for What's Trending.
What's Trending is presented by Ferguson's Heating and Cooling. Your family should trust the Ferguson family for all your heating and cooling needs, and you'll see why they have over 165 5-star Google reviews. Make an appointment today at fergusonsheatingandcooling.com.
All right, so give me kind of a quick answer to this because I have a follow-up. Let's backdate the calendar right now by about 2 months or so, okay? Let's backdate it. If you had to look at position rooms, and I'll break them down for you, running back, quarterback, offensive line, wide receivers, tight end. That's 5 rooms. Then you have defensive line, linebackers, cornerbacks, safeties. 2-3 months ago, what would have been your top 3 rooms?
Offensive line, defensive line, and probably the corners.
Okay.
I would say. I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where would wide receiver room have been on your list? How much further down? Before the emergence, before we saw what Ryan looked like on the field.
Yeah,
before
I probably.
Hold on.
I know where you're at. I know where you're at.
We saw that Trent Sherfield is more than just a special teams player. Where would the wide receiver group have been?
Well, and I might put the edge room ahead of corners. Corners edge would be probably about the same. And then maybe I would get into probably I'd get into the receivers room down the list. So probably 5, 6, maybe something like that.
I would agree. So what does it say about this wide receiver room that they have looked great, at least in training camp, against the reigning defensive player of the year, a first-round pick in Jahdae Barron? We know when he's healthy, Riley Moss, what he can do on the field. And, oh, by the way, Jaquan McMillan. With that, how much more impressive is it what the wide receiver group has done so far in training camp, going up against that secondary? And, oh, by the way, the back help of Hufanga and Jones. Yeah. Doesn't that raise the bar even higher for that wide receiver room? If you believe in the phrase iron sharpens iron, it's not as if this wide receiver room every day in practice is going up against the Cardinals secondary, which at least in the joint practice that we saw looked like a hot mess in which Broncos wide receivers were wide open all over the place. Not only in that joint practice, but also in the preseason game.
Well, yes, and it also speaks to the quarterback, obviously, because the quarterback's delivering the ball. But yes, I would say
great catches.
Sure. Well, there better be. No, but there better be some great catches. I mean, you expect these guys are wide receivers in the National Football League. They better be able to go and get the football. Has the room elevated? Yes, relative to where it was. Is it better than the defensive front, the edge rushing group, the offensive front? Probably not. I mean, I think that they are better when you look at where they started, but are they better than? I mean, now you've added Jahdae Barron to the corner room. Now you've got Q Robinson, who Nick Bonito is breathless about, added to the edge room. So you may well still have the 5th best room, for whatever that's worth, on the team, but all of the talent is getting better around you in other position groups as well. I don't think that there is a weak room on this football team. A weak room. There may be an average room. You might look at the tight end room and say, well, because of the way that they're going to use Ingram. I don't think they will use him as a typical tight end in terms of blocking and things of that nature, even though he wants to be present in the running game. That's great. So, I mean, I think it's a reflection of what they've done with the talent in general that you can talk about. The wide receiver room is that much better than we thought it would be 3 months ago, but they may not have moved up the pecking order in terms of rooms on this team.
Right. I'll use the Lakers as an example way back in the day. Just because you're down in the charts doesn't mean you're not great. And what do I mean by that? So we look at the Broncos cornerback room, which many believe, I should say many believe, but when you read what people are writing about other secondaries around the league, the Broncos are considered to have probably a top 3 to top 5 secondary in the league. Is that an unfair statement?
Oh no, I mean I think it's one or between 1 and 3. I don't see it down at 5.
And you just put them 4th on the list on their own team.
Yeah,
they're 4th on the Broncos. That room is 4th on the Broncos. Yet they're
arguably 3rd or 4th, right? Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and they're arguably,
yeah, I would say that's right.
And they're arguably top 3 in the league. So I'll use the Lakers as an example. Back when they were winning championships in the early 1980s, mid 1980s, yeah, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic Johnson, right? Well, who's your 3rd guy? Oh, yeah, that guy James Worthy.
Yeah.
James Worthy would be a star on any team.
Sure.
So just because James Worthy is number 3 doesn't mean he's still not a great player. Just because the Broncos cornerback room is number 3 or number 4 in terms of best rooms on the team certainly doesn't mean that they are not great. It just, you're comparing it against your own team than comparing it against, the rest of the NFL. Many would argue the Broncos front 7 is top 5 in the league. Many would argue the Broncos secondary, when you include the safeties and the cornerbacks, is top 5 in the league. Many would argue the Broncos offensive line is top 5 in the league. So whoever checks in, and we haven't even, just because you're number 3 doesn't mean you can't be number 1, 2, or 3 amongst the rest of the league.
Right. Absolutely. And that's with what is generally considered to be, where are we with Nix right now? Is he generally considered to be maybe a top 15 quarterback?
Yeah.
Maybe a top 15?
Yeah, so it's wait and see. Let's see what happens in his sophomore year. No one is saying that about Jaden Daniels, but I'll be curious. But I'll be curious to see how he does without his top wide receiver still as new camp.
Yeah, that's right.
And the Broncos won't have that problem. The Broncos won't have that problem.
No.
Because if the Broncos lose their top wide receiver, they still have 4 other guys who are more than pretty good. I don't know if Washington does.
So let me just throw something at you. If we take the valuation of the Broncos from a national perspective, considering that Bo Nix, by most measurements, is a top 20, top 18, top 15 quarterback, can you make the statement based on that by a national perspective that the weakest room in the Denver Broncos is the quarterback room?
I would say the running back room would be considered that way.
Running back room. Okay. But the running back room, and just by adding Jake. And the tight end room. Yeah, right. That's fair.
Because you have a top level guy potentially in Ingram, and with all due respect to Adam Troutman, I mean, who's going to be the 3rd tight end on this team? Are you going to keep Caleb Lohner as a project, or you're going to go with somebody else who, let's see.
Yeah. Well, it just, but my point is, if you used that metric,
yes,
that would be a bottom 3 room on the Denver Broncos.
Well, here's another
by
way
the
to
way,
put it. It wouldn't be 3 or 4. How's that? I don't know where the quarterback room would fall, but it would not be the 3rd best room or maybe even the 4th best room. It's not proven yet.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, I mean,
when you're looking at all of the other position groups, you have Surtain, who has proved it. You have Zach Allen on the defensive line. He has proved it with JFM, with DJ Jones. You have Benito and Cooper, at least in terms of sacks, have proved it. And we see the up-and-coming Jonah Ellis and Tillman. You have guys who have shown more than what Nix has shown so far. But think about what this team's going to look like if suddenly that quarterback room becomes number 2 on this team, then what does this team look like?
Yeah, I mean, right. I mean, it's just kind of interesting. And of course, ranking rooms is the kind of fodder for exactly what we do each and every morning. It's the way that it's all used together for Sean Payton that will reflect where this team ends up in terms of wins and losses. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
Real quick, before we go, where would you put the wide receiver room today? Certainly not near the top 2-3 months ago.
No.
So where do you put him now?
I think the wide receiver room is still probably 5. Maybe, I mean, are they better? Are they more highly regarded than the offensive line? No. Are they more highly regarded than the defensive front? No. Are they more highly regarded than the edge rushers? Are they more highly regarded than the corner room? No. So right now you're at 5. We haven't gotten into. I mean, I think they're more highly regarded than the tight end room. I think they're more highly regarded than probably the running back room. Although I think that those two rooms can be. You could argue that they're fairly similar, right? Running back and wide receivers. We're looking for prove it from both rooms.
And then, as the final insult to injury for the rest of the NFL, the Broncos have depth everywhere. To boot, if these rooms with the starters aren't that great, and if they get injured, you have guys who might not be able to fill in at the same level, but can certainly put their finger in the dike and hold the water.
Yeah, no question. Next Tuesday, they are going to lose 37 guys off this roster for the moment. And you're going to be able to bring 17 back, but you're probably not going to be able to bring 17 back from all of the guys that you had to cut loose. You're going to have to be creative about that. But the Broncos are going to start this season not light years, but far ahead of any of the 3 seasons that Sean Payton has started a season with. The Broncos are set up to win football games, period. How many they win, that's the fun of playing out this string. But if this team stays healthy, it can do some damage.
Yeah. That's going to do it for us. Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. Make it the best possible day you can.